Another rainy day. Had another member of our crew show up, Alec. So now we've got Alec and Alex, which gets a little confusing when we talk with plural. So Alec is gonna go down there. He's got a nice little camp he started. And then other than that, we've been working on our wood stove dryer all day. There you go. Made a little more progress on our wood stove dryer here. So we got it all walled in. We got our tin on the back around the wood stove pipe and one panel of tin on the top in case sparks come out of there. And the rest is all poly, so it creates the greenhouse effect. That'll help get a little more sunlight on the mushrooms, UV. And this, right, some strapping on there. It's all pretty much sealed with just some small holes here and there. And there's a good sized hole that comes in here, so when we pull air with our dryer through some ducting, it'll have to come through this hole across the wood stove. It'll dry it out. It'll come into our ducting here. We'll cut a hole in the poly, which will go into our dryer. All I've got to do now is make a door, which I'll do next. I'll show you that after. And then I'm going to put in some more sort of heat flashing here to direct the heat where we want it to go. All right, we've got our wall on. It just latches down here with one of these Kwanzaa ties around a nail. Undo that. And then to open the door, it's just like a big greenhouse door. You just roll it up together. There we go, smoke coming out the stack. And here's our buddy Alec, who has joined us for the season, ready to pick. Look at that. Woohoo! Woo! The air comes in through that ducting there, that tube, comes through the wall, down, right into the dryer. And then all that hot air is getting ejected out the fan here. And so even when it's pouring rain out and really wet, we are only drying with dry air. So that'll speed up the drying a heck of a lot. So far so good. And then once they're all at 90% dried, we can put them into a big rack, a big tray rack, you know, this sort of size, except it'll have walls like that deep, 6 inches deep at least. And then that will go in here on rails. The rack will sit above the wood stove, and we'll get it really hot, dry in here, and just crank this thing. And we'll heat flash with that, finish them off. It's like a sauna in here right now, a dry sauna. There you go. Success. show you how I set up my pack board. Tomorrow we're gonna go in with, I'm gonna take 7 baskets in, plus my bucket. So what I do is I've got 2 mains that come down from the bottom, and they come right up to these top clips. I take one from the side here, and every time I go around this way, I wrap it around this bungee, whatever bungee is here, and I wrap it around here. Not only does it hold it better, kind of like a big tensor strength net, but also if your hook gives way, it will only swing to here before it loses its tension. So it won't swing all the way around and come and hit you in the face. So it's a safety thing, as well as it holds all your baskets better. And these are really adjustable, so if you need to move it around, you can just, it's not hard. Got it right where you need it. And then take the smaller green bungee at the end, wrap it around the main line on either side. So when I want to grab my bucket out, I just hop and pull. Sometimes I'll use a bit of rope on there if it's a really heavy load, but I've stopped using ratchets. They're too rigid. Rope is also too rigid on its own. Bungees, as long as you do them properly, are almost like a suspension for your packboard. So every step you take, they're like shocks. So your mushrooms aren't totally rigid with your body and rattling around in your baskets. You know, you trip or you stumble or you hit a tree, the bungees will flex with that like shocks. So it's the way to go. Everybody has their own way of setting things up. So as long as the mushrooms aren't being damaged, then that's the most important thing. Beyond that, you can kind of get custom and have your own style. Whatever works with your pack frame. I'm using Tonka brand. I prefer the shorter frame. I can get 7 or 8 baskets on here, plus the bucket hanging off the back. So that's as much as I can carry. I don't need a high frame. This is nice for me because if I need to sneak under a tree way before I've loaded up, when I'm hiking in, I don't have a huge frame way above my head. The pack sits just below head level, so I know if my head can make it under, then my pack can make it under, which is really nice. So, see, Robbie's got a different one that's similar. And Alex is the same one as me. And then Randy has the old frame. It's a 20 or 30-year-old Tatanka frame that's still going. Way back in the day. He's got the huge extender on it here, and then he's got the extra framing, but it's a little harsher on the arms. These might be aftermarket straps, I'm not sure, but he's carried a hell of a lot of mushrooms on that pack over the last 20 or 30 years. That's been the majority of his career on that pack frame, and it's still kicking. When I go out, I have GPS, handheld GPS, safety gear, food, lots of water, bear spray, bear banger, and radios, bug spray. Sometimes I'll bring the drone if we're going really far in and want to see further down. These are what I picked Morels with, and they got the holster. Knife also works, but this is what I use, and I'll show you why. I use these for a number of reasons. First of all, they're a fairly cheap pair, so I can grind them into the ground. I can pop things out of the ground without damaging my knife. And then the main reason is you can clip a mushroom with one hand, other hand's free. You don't need to hold the mushroom as much. And this, you come up to the mushroom, you feel it hit there, and you get rid of your stem, and you come out with a perfect cut almost every time, but it makes it easier. So I recommend these. Knife also works. For other mushrooms I usually use a knife, but for Morels, these work great.